A quick review. What is step number one? Step number one is to revisit your why. What is it that caused you to say yes? Step two is to revisit your initial order. Did it create a promotion line? Step three is to consider what your auto ship looks like. Is that the way you want your business to duplicate? And to recognize that it is duplicating today based upon what your business, based upon the decisions you've made at steps 1, 2, and 3. Step 4. To acquire the initial toolkit if you have not, and to click on yes for subscription. That paves the way for step 5. It is when you grow you that you begin to grow your business. And as it stated in step 5, this is a business of attraction rather than promotion, and that then finds its way directly into step 6. Because, of course, our candidate list is as big as the world. It is as big as the world. It's when we present something that others would seek to have, when we evidence a quality of life. And by the way, that quality of life need not be financial. It's peace, it's joy, it's contentment. Daily disciplines done daily create something that is attractive to others. People so frequently come to me and they want me to teach them how to make more money. It's not uncommon for me to say, well, if in our time together you learn how to make more money and that's all, it was certainly a waste of my time, whether or not it was a waste of yours. It's if we together discover new ways to be more happy more of the time, irrespective of what our current financial circumstance is, that then is an amazing thing. Well, at step 6, we learn how to grow our candidate list so that it stays in front of us in terms of quantity and quality. I would here strongly advise you to review the 1 Minute Manager. I think back in that book, by the way, by Ken Blanchard. For me, my reading retention is not particularly good, and so I listen to audiobooks over and over and over. I've listened to that one so very many times. There are a few pivotal moments in my career. One pivotal moment was about the 15th time that I listened to the 1 Minute Manager, and about that 15th time, I finally heard what was being said: catch others doing something right. Now, Blanchard was talking about in a management capacity, walking through the office and seeing people doing something well and telling them they were doing a good job, instead of walking through the office and seeing people underperforming and criticizing them for that poor performance. He stated that so much greater would be the outcome if we caught people doing something well. I've extended that principle to life generally because we don't manage people. That's not what it is. Over the course of these last years, my entire worldview has been changed by the simple thought of catching others doing something right and then affirming them for it. People know when flattery is involved. Flattery doesn't feel good. Flattery leaves one with a little bit of a yucko feeling. A sincere compliment is always well received and embraced. When I observe someone doing something well and I affirm them for it, that creates an extension to my candidate list. That's the beginning point of a new relationship developing, and the heart is always opened by a sincere compliment. So many years ago, I recall that I met a person in a Nordstrom store who sold me a suit. Countless are the times that I bought clothes from others. This particular gentleman's name was Tom. And after the experience, I said, Tom, you're extraordinary. Truly extraordinary, and you are underemployed. I congratulate you for your good work, and I want you to know that I believe that those skills of yours will one day be put to a higher and better use. I thank you for that service. Can I have your business card in case we ever have a chance to interact again? See, at that moment, I had paved the way. That was now a new person. By the way, I complimented him because he deserved the compliment. I didn't do it to add him to my candidate list. I complimented him because he deserved the compliment, because he had provided extraordinary service. And that also paved the way for him to be added to my candidate list. When next I was in that same town, it happened to be Tampa, Florida, I had stored in my memory jogger the fact that Tom at Nordstrom's had done a remarkable job, and I popped by again, this time with my preferred preliminary information device. It was an audio tool at that point in time. It was called Your First Look. Surprise, surprise. We have an audio tool today called Your First Look. I think it's an extraordinary way for one to see the business for their very first time. There's a First Look pack for those that are on your warm candidate list, a First Look pack that contains significant information that is designed specifically to be delivered, left overnight, and picked back up. There's a whole logic and a rationale to that. And then there are those bumps that I call them, those bumps, those people that we bump into. There must also be that less significant piece of information designed simply to open one's eyes to the possibility of continuing investigation. And so I popped back by. The Nordstrom is very, very close to the airport in Tampa, and I popped back by on the hopes that he would be there. He was. And I said, Tom, I don't know if you remember me or not. Last time I saw you, you provided such extraordinary service to me. I told you were underemployed. Tom, if I could show you how to turn those well-developed skills of yours into a greater outcome for you and your family, would you be willing to listen to a 7-minute CD? Tom, would it be appropriate for me to call you back tomorrow and talk about it? I just taught you the foundation of step 6 and step 7. I caught someone doing something right. I then, at step 7, learned how to be scripted. I learned what the preliminary information device was that was designed to open the door to further conversation. What was just described was step 6, and the rudimentary pieces of step 7, growing a candidate list by catching people doing something right. That simple principle has served me so well over the course of the last 20 years that the result is that I have been one of the most prolific recruiters in this industry over that entire period of time. Step number 6, learn to grow your candidate list. This is a reflection of attraction, of you acting upon daily disciplines daily over time. As you become more, others in that candidate tree become available to you, partly because of a more well-developed skill at step 7, learning how to invite, but partly because you are becoming peers of people who once did not view you as a peer. Every time you grow, your peer set changes. You retain relationships you had previously and have access to a different quality of relationships with those whose past life experiences were greater than yours. It's a beautiful principle. As you grow, the candidate tree becomes more available to you, and part of that growth is what? It is learning how to invite. Learning how to invite, we transition to step 7,